Father God, thank you so much for today and for each of these students. I ask, Father, that you would just guide and help us understand the truth of who Jesus is, that he is the great I am, that he is eternal, and that he's our Lord and Savior. We pray these things in Jesus' name. Amen. This is a quote from somebody whose name sounds vaguely familiar to me. I'm not sure why, but his name is Paul Ehrlich, and he said this: "To err is human. To really foul things up, you need a computer." I think it's quite true. Why say that technology is a blessing and a curse?
You finished the student or the notes from the teacher lesson.
You didn't. I didn't finish the lecture. You might have finished the notes, but I didn't finish the lecture. So we talked about, first of all, the first part of the lecture was on the woman caught in adultery, but we covered that pretty well on the In Search of Jesus. And then we talked about how the Pharisees kept showing their ignorance about a number of different things. So in John 8:13 through 52, they were ignorant of his truthfulness. They didn't believe he was telling the truth, but he was telling the truth about himself, and his testimony was true, and his Father's testimony was true. They had ignorance about who his father was. They thought they knew that he had an earthly father. The curriculum says that they knew his father was Joseph, or they might have. They might have. I think that's kind of unlikely that they would have known his father was Joseph, but certainly they were assuming he had an earthly father. He had a biological father. And then this is where this took place, in the temple, right here, in the temple treasury. They were ignorant of his destiny. When he says, "Where I'm going, you can't come," he's talking about his death and his resurrection and his ascension, and they think he's going to kill himself. So they're ignorant about what he's talking about there. They're ignorant about his identity. They say, "Who are you?" And he says, "Just what I've been telling you from the beginning." He's been proclaiming himself to be Messiah, and they are ignorant of that. They're ignorant of their own history. They claim that they've never been enslaved. We're children of Abraham. We've never been enslaved. Well, in fact, they had in Egypt, they had in Babylon, they had in Assyria/Persia, they had and they were right now under the thumb of the Roman Empire. They were ignorant of his character. They're saying that he was a Samaritan and had a demon. He was demon possessed. And obviously that is not who Jesus was. And then they're ignorant of his greatness, that he is Messiah. And then they're ignorant of his eternality, that he is eternal, that he is God, which is part of what he's saying when he says what we're about to read: "Before Abraham was, I am." So we already talked about this a little bit, but we're going to talk more about it. It says this in verses 58 and 59. Jesus said to them, because they've just said, Jesus said, "Abraham saw my day and he rejoiced at it," or "he rejoiced to see my day." And they're like, "You aren't even 50. Abraham lived 2,000 years ago. There's no way that you knew Abraham." And then Jesus said to them, "Truly, truly, I say to you, before Abraham was, I am." So they picked up stones to throw at him, but Jesus hid himself and went out of the temple. So Jesus said, "Before Abraham was, I am." Lousy grammar. It should be "before Abraham was, I was." But that would be correct grammar. But he goes farther than that. He says, "Before Abraham was, I am." He does that intentionally, because he says, "Before Abraham was, Yahweh." He is proclaiming for himself the self-revelatory name of God. And so he is stating a truth that he is God. Abraham had lived about 2,000 years before Christ came to earth. And Christ is saying 2,000 years ago, I am right now. Jesus being God doesn't just know all things, or isn't just omnipresent in all places at all times. He is at all times at all times. He is not bound by space and time. He created space and time. And for 33 years he lived in that, but he lives outside of that before and after. He is eternal, and only God is eternal. So what he was saying was, I am God. I am the Messiah. He clearly is claiming to be the God of Moses, the God of Abraham. He's claiming to be eternal. He's saying 2,000 years ago, I am right now. So God exists outside of space and time, so does Jesus. So 2,000 years in the past, 2,000 years in the future are all the same. He is all of those times. He is in all of those times all the time. So he's claiming to be God. Only God is eternal. He is without beginning or end. He's claiming deity, and they knew it because they believed he deserved to die for that statement, and it enraged them. So they are ignorant of his eternality. They're ignorant of knowing who he is, and it led to this rash act. Their ignorance led to this rash act. Ignorance often does do that, of trying to kill him. They're going to continue to look for an opportunity. They were unable to do it this time. Why? It's not his time. It's not his hour yet. But his hour will come, and they will be able to arrest and try and kill him eventually, just not yet. Questions on that? Okay, so that's the end of that. I'm going to hand out the chapter 20 quiz to you. I'm going to give you a couple of answers on it, and we're going to talk through a third one, so you're going to get 3 free points on this thing. Then you'll complete it. When you're done, put it up here with a, bye Angela, bye Toby. Put it up here on